Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. Mastercard, Visa, the Fit 21 Act, and then we got China dumping U.S. dollar bonds. The finish line is near. Hong Kong cross-border with the digital yuan, you say. Oh boy. We got a Fed official talking about the U.S. dollar imminent demise. Grayscale has a change of guard. We got Silvio Pagato from Ripple talking about the importance of the stablecoin and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspective.com for exclusive content. Right now, $2.54 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off by 0.1%. We see 66,800 plus for Bitcoin, 3,000 plus for Ethereum, $111,000.3 billion market cap plus for Tether. And number 8 is XRP at 51 cents, off by 0.1 to 24, up by 1.7 on the 7-day, ranging between 52 cents. We'll keep an eye on it. I want to tell you right now about I Trust Capital. The only thing better than buying crypto is buying tax-free crypto or gold and silver IRAs. You can do that here with I Trust, and they give you your own back office and empower you so you have the ability to move the funds around when it makes sense. This is really, really an important information for you. If you have not checked out I Trust Capital yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. But coming off of a crypto winter, now would be a great time to consider for yourself putting together a nice little portfolio for you and your family in your I Trust Capital IRA and have some tax-free crypto portfolio built, just waiting for you, tax-free, when you turn 59 and a half. How about that one? Click the link to my sponsor underneath the video. Crypto asset manager, Grayscale CEO Michael Sonnen. I've always had a problem. Sonneshin resigned. Let's call it Michael Sonneshin, and I apologize if I just train wrecked your name, Michael. I know I'm not the first one, but he resigns as Grayscale CEO. What does it all mean? Well, we're going to get a look at that. Let's hear from Michael himself. He says, I leave Grayscale with deep gratitude for everyone who has been on this incredible rocket ship journey. Barry Silbert, thank you for taking a bet on me and for your partnership these last 10 years. To the Grayscale leadership team, thank you for your dedication, loyalty, and steadfast commitment. Finally, and most importantly, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to each and every member of the Grayscale team, past and present. What we've achieved together is nothing short of remarkable. I'm excited for what's new. In the meantime, Grayscale team, keep building to the moon, Michael. Well, what to make of all of this? Barry Silbert says, as we position Grayscale for its next phase of growth, excited to welcome Peter Mintzberg as Grayscale CEO effective August 15th, joining from Goldman Sachs. Keep listening. Peter has 20 plus years experience across prominent asset managers, including BlackRock, Oppenheimer Funds, and Invesco. He goes on to say, I want to thank Michael Sonneshin during his 10 years at Grayscale. Michael guided the firm through exponential growth and oversaw its pivotal role in bringing spot Bitcoin ETFs to market, leading the way for the broader financial industry. We wish him the best in his future endeavors. Then there was this reported by Eleanor Terry. Shout out to Eleanor. Recently announced CEO Grayscale, Peter Mintzberg, has a history of strategy and corporate M&As, which is merger acquisitions, at high-profile firms such as BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and Oppenheimer Funds. Mintz oversaw Oppenheimer's sale of Invesco US in 2019. Maybe a sale in Grayscale's future? How about that? Hello. You know, in this expansion and contraction of this new asset class that's really being born before our eyes, there will be these moments where we see larger players come in and buy up the larger players in the crypto space. but bought up by the larger legacy traditional finance firms. Keep your head on a swivel with this one. I think Eleanor's on to it. Blockchain Association says including Ripple support for a floor vote for the Fit 21st Century Act, and we know that this is all for crypto to get it opened up. Let's open up this logjam, ladies and gentlemen. You can see all the major players here, including Ripple on the board, that support the Financial Innovation Act for the 21st century. Let's get it passed, right? Because we know what's on the other side of this, and it is the legacy firms coming in and the institutions in Wall Street pouring trillions of dollars into this space because they know what these payment protocols, these value protocol networks can do. Speaking of which, while watching all of that development take place there, let's turn and look now as China dumps $53 billion worth of U.S. bonds on top of what they've already been dumping. They go on to say here, following its joint statement with Russia about moving away from the reliance on Western countries, the Chinese government announced it sold the $53.3 billion worth of U.S. bonds. Swiss economic expert Claudio Grass says it is a wise decision to diversify away from the U.S. dollar. Gold has outperformed U.S. dollar bonds by 75% since 21. In addition, the U.S. dollar has been used for decades already as a political weapon, and with arbitrary confiscation of assets due to pressure from the U.S. government. We see those sanctions from SWIFT not working for the way that everyone had hoped for Russia. Their Russian ruble is doing better than before the conflict with Ukraine. It is obvious that the Western civilization is being destroyed by their own corrupt, rotten political system. Even though the source is Sputnik, that's an accurate reflection. And here's a reminder of just what we need to really be careful with. U.S. fears undersea cables that connect the world with the internet are vulnerable to espionage from Chinese repair ships. Now, this reminds me of the Nord Stream pipeline that we saw got busted too. Remember that? The oil Nord Stream pipeline. This could happen with the internet. And instantly, we're no longer connected around the world because the way that we're connected with the internet is underground cables on the bottom of the sea. And now you factor in Starlink and why that's so important. And if it's ready to go, we know 99 countries are already on board with Starlink at the moment. But this is why Starlink is so important. At some point, we could see these things
So
cut.
one aspect of this,
Listen to Pippa Malmgren. Her father was the person who advised and helped, was the economic advisor to help Nixon when they came off the gold standard for the U.S. dollar.
So one aspect of this I'm always banging on about is the continuous attacks on subsea internet cables. And they're happening all the time. And again, it started with the one in Svalbard, but most people don't pay much attention because, well, honestly, I guess people think that Wi-Fi is just in the air. And just like electricity comes out of the plug in the wall, they're not thinking through what is the infrastructure that provides this. So subsea cables are very vulnerable, very much under attack.
This is the problem. This is why Starlink's so important. It's also why I believe that X as a payment platform as well as a social media platform is going to become extremely important as well. Now, we hear a conversation here about Qatar talking about digital asset framework with digital asset labs, and they really are talking about real world use cases. I don't need to play the 30 seconds here. I'm just showing you that we are seeing the moves, and this is towards a sandbox to get moving with digital assets, and it's not the end of this conversation. Hong Kong pilots first ever digital yuan payment system for cross-border transactions. Now, I just had a conversation with the Honorable Christian Carlo on stage at XRP Las Vegas 24 about the problem of digital yuan being white labeled in other areas of the world, other countries white labeling the digital yuan. That would be catastrophic for any country doing that and the world in part. But here they are, they're out front here. We need to see that leadership role of the United States. Boom, just flip the switch like that and we're in the front of the line. I think getting USD Tether under control one way or another Whether it's simply bringing them under prudential regulation, maybe bringing them to the U.S., I don't know. But what I do know is that the U.S. government, as Brad Garlinghouse rightfully said, are targeting Tether. Period. Full stop. Tether is a huge, important, it is the largest on and off ramp to the digital asset space. What will come of it? I don't know. But what I do know is that this market isn't truly in a place of regulatory clarity until we understand how the U.S. government treats an out-of-U.S. company for selling digital dollars. It's a serious matter. Mastercard, as a reminder, is joining with other financial institutions to test ledger technology, DLT, that would allow common settlement of tokenized assets. We all know this. I reported on it last week as well, using the regulated settlement networks you guys remember. And this involves multiple different entities that are doing this, just to name a few, like U.S. Bancorp, Wells Fargo, Visa, and the rest of them are involved in that. Then we know Visa is now connected into U.S. real-time settlement system for FedNow. We can see evidence of that right here, as you can see, showing Visa in this highlight here. Shout out to Chad for that. And don't forget that Thunes, Neum, Ripple Partners are involved in all of this. This is a very big deal, and there's more information to know. Look at what the federal governor here, Waller, remarks on the critics of the U.S. dollar and its potential imminent demise.
Now, despite all the benefits that the dollar provides the United States and global economies, and the efforts to mitigate some of the financial stability challenges posed by its dominant role, there has for some time been commentary predicting that the dollar is destined for demise, potentially an imminent demise. So far, these predictions have not materialized, nor have they come close to materializing. The dollar remains by far the most widely used currency across a variety of metrics, including as a store of value and as a medium of exchange. However, the role of the United States in the world economy is changing, and finance is always changing. So I think it is important for policymakers to regularly consider if and why the dollar's role might change as well.
Now, that gets it in. Remember, now he said store of value and a medium of exchange. But how about the unit of account part? Because that counts too. You know, this is really interesting here, again, talking about, the U.S. dollar's role here. I don't know how many of you remember us covering this in 2020, but Visa applied for a digital dollar blockchain patent. That's right, 4 years ago. They want you to think that they're just now considering all these things, but they're not. Chris Giancarlo was involved in this as well. He understood. Commented on Visa's patent file with the U.S. Patent Office and says this confirms when the U.S. does big things like space program and the internet, there are partnerships between private and public sector. This patent filing is evidence that the private sector is very much at work on the future of money. That is Chris Giancarlo from the Digital Dollar Project. The interesting thing is Visa doesn't have a patent for U.S. dollars, so this public-private relationship is happening between the Fed and the U.S. government, ladies and gentlemen. So when you hear somebody like Fed Governor Waller talking about, in almost an arrogant fashion, about the imminent demise of the U.S. dollar, which isn't going to happen, you need to know that when you see Visa doing all these things and MasterCard doing all these things and Wells Fargo and others with the FedNow and all these different testing systems with distributed ledger technology, it's because they know they don't have the luxury of being arrogant. It's a front. A change is coming. Speaking of change coming, let's hear from Silvio Pagato on Ripple's stablecoin strategy. And it is absolutely, I believe, a massive move. You're going to see huge beneficial things when that stablecoin launches on the Ethereum network and the XRP ledger, ladies and gentlemen. Just like I believe that we saw for USD Tether to Bitcoin and USDC to Ethereum and Stellar's network. Come on in. Take a listen.
A stablecoin ela faz parte dessa nossa estratégia de plataforma full stack, né? Uma plataforma completa, onde ela vai, assim como a gente usa o XRP como digital assets para utilizar, fazer parte das nossas engrenagens, tentando ser o mais didático possível, nossas engrenagens, nossos produtos de pagamentos internacionais, também a gente poderia usar também uma stablecoin.
Entendi.
Então depende muito com relação à otimização. Qual corredor, qual caminho que seria mais fácil, qual que seria com a liquidez, qual que seria mais barato para a gente e com maior eficiência de entregar com qualidade, né? Para entregar a ponta B. Então a gente escolhe entre o XRP e também o stablecoin.
Entendi. E aí, a ideia da stablecoin, por exemplo, ao invés de vocês precisarem usar uma stablecoin de outra empresa, uma Tether, uma USDC, vocês têm uma stablecoin própria de vocês para usar, se for necessário. A ideia é meio que essa.
Sim, porque se a gente faz uma stablecoin em cima do XRP Ledger, né, do XRP, da Ledger, né, do XRP, ela passa a ser nativa do nosso ecossistema. Então, todos os produtos são nativos da XRP Ledger. Então, isso seria muito mais... Na parte de eficiência, tal, fica bem mais integrado com a gente. Então, eu acho que isso faz todo sentido para a gente. E aí, claro, a gente vê que o stablecoin ele é muito forte no mundo de... Até empresas utilizam muito para fazer cross-border, né, fazer pagamentos internacionais. E a gente percebe também que o stablecoin, no mundo mais consumer, que não é muito o nosso caso, mas comentando, as pessoas utilizam muito mais para você sair de um posicionamento de cripto volátil. Né? Então a gente está caminhando, não preciso agora preciso parar sair da posição de risco, né? Vá para o stablecoin. Né? Então a gente percebe que tem muita coisa e é um mercado gigantesco, né? O mercado, se não me engano, os números são até 2028, um mercado de 2,8 trilhões de dólares.
Acho que é isso mesmo, projeção.
Então é um mercado gigantesco. Então acho que a gente percebe que faz aderência à nossa estratégia ter um stablecoin. Então por isso que a gente está planejando lançar até o final do ano.
E Brasil?
Now we're planning to launch it at the end of the year, and I couldn't be more excited to see that launch take place. There's no question about it. Shout out to Silvio for getting and sharing that information with all of us. Look, here's a great point too. I want you to listen to this. Logical thinking is a simple process, and what a great point for anyone who wishes to go from being told what to think as opposed to how to think for yourself. This is a fantastic clip.
For a junk coin like XRP, with a technology that's just not going to go anywhere. Why in the world is the public policy scene even talking about XRP Ripple? Greg Kidd, who is a former senior analyst at the Federal Reserve Board for Payments, spoke highly of Ripple's XRP at the Las Vegas conference. I find it so interesting that somebody that truly has been behind the closed doors and knows what's going on is giving it the time of day at all. Notice what he says here. I did go from working for the Federal Reserve, which was the deep state, to a poker game with the other deep state players like from Google and Visa. And they talked about this new company. There was no Bitcoin company, but there was a company called Ripple. Now, not only did he commend Ledger's original architects, Arthur Brito and David Schwartz, for taking the time to educate him on the future, he also said Ripple made him pivot from the history world at the Federal Reserve to the whole new universe that XRP and Ripple brought. Junk coin, junk technology. It's a waste of time. Why are people hating on it so much when we have this stuff coming out from people that know what they're talking about?
There you have it right there. Speaking of people who know what they're talking about right here, Amelie shares the date. It's May 20th, 2024 today, and the parties and any third parties file letter briefs in opposition to omnibus letter motions to seal. That's where we are on this day, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's digperspectives.com. If you want to support the channel, click the Freedom Zone and come on in. I'll catch all of you on the next one.